first thing you need to do is just find out what the first thing you need to do is and do it.
Yes.
So when it comes to drop shipping, it's product research. You need to find yourself a product. That's the first thing you should do. Like the small amount of work that you do really compounds, especially when you're doing it every day. And that's where the consistency comes in as well.
It's actually, you actually begin to enjoy the pain because you know what it's doing to you, you know it's growing you.
People overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years.
What's up YouTube? Hope you guys are great and having a fantastic day. Hope you guys are locking in every single day, getting one step closer to your goals and to your vision. As you guys know on the channel, I interview guys that are in the same space, have the same mindsets, have the same goals, that's aiming big in life and aiming to win this game that we call life. And I've got another guest on the channel today. I'm very excited for our discussion and to go a little bit into his world. So he's going to introduce himself in a second, but if you guys have been enjoying the interview so far and it's been valuable to you, yeah, do me a favor and just subscribe to the channel. Really help with the algorithm, and if it's really been valuable to you, then put on your post notifications and you won't miss a video, because the whole point of this channel is to add value to you, as I'm getting value from other people in my life and just learning from guys that are also in the trenches and going for it. It's quite cool. I actually have a guy that's similar to my age. I think you're younger than me, eh?
Yeah, 1 year.
Yeah, it's actually it's quite exciting to be able to learn from anyone. And one of the things I say all the time is, if you're humble enough, you can learn from anybody, literally anyone, no matter how old they are, no matter how far they are in life or how, you know, behind they are. You can still learn from different people's perspectives. So Luke, thanks for taking some time to meet with us today. We have a nice view, got the camping chairs. We're going to be chilling here for a little while. So why don't you introduce yourself, tell them who you are, where you come from, and what you do at the moment.
Cool, man. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited for this chat. Like you say, you're never too old to learn from anyone, especially if they're younger than you. Especially in this online game, there's people that are like 17, 16, 15-year-olds making millions of dollars. So you never know who you're speaking to. But yeah, my name is Luke Bradshaw. I'm born and bred here in Somerset West. Been here my whole life. I studied sound engineering actually when I finished school. Did that for 3 years, but then I realized that it's not really going to give me the life that I want to live. It's not going to make me the money I need, unless it's one of those industries where if you have to be in the top like 0.1% to really make it work. So I was always interested in the online thing, always interested in drop shipping specifically, because it looked like...
He's got some good tunes though. I'll link like a song or two in the description.
Yeah, I used to make a lot of beats.
Yeah, got some good music.
Yeah, so I still got my producer channel up there. You can put that in there as well. But yeah, that was actually kind of my start to entrepreneurship, to be honest. I used to make beats every day and post them on YouTube every day, and then I would get a couple of sales every day, just like $15, $20 every now and then. So that was like my first start to making money. So I was never really like a brokey, but yeah, that was my start. But then it wasn't making me enough money. So I was always interested in dropshipping, always watching the YouTube videos and everything, watching the dropshipping challenges. My brother Liam was also doing the same thing and dabbling a little bit, but I never took the step to actually start.
Yeah, so if you guys remember, we had Liam on the channel a little while ago, and this is the brother, the legend version of Liam.
I mean,
jokes.
Yeah, like Liam honestly is one of the biggest reasons that I'm doing what I'm doing today, but we can get into that. But yeah, so I started dabbling a bit, got into dropshipping, made a little bit of money, but I didn't take it seriously at all. And I actually had like a good product installed in my hands, but I didn't know at the time because I had no idea what I was doing. But the most important thing there is that I just started.
100%, bro.
But yeah, so kind of on and off with dropshipping and e-commerce for a while. And then when I finished studying sound engineering, I decided, okay, it's time to go all in. Towards the end of my last year of sound engineering, I had an Etsy store that was doing pretty well and was making me like $2,000 a month profit, which was like my first taste of like making, like that's a livable income from online money. And to be honest, I was doing hardly any work on that store. Like I was just letting it run and sending orders to my supplier every day.
Yeah, I know. I think it's really cool. I mean, me personally, I'm in a different game, a different industry to you, but I've always been super interested in the e-commerce side of things. In general, I'm a business enthusiast. I love like I love studying economics, I love studying business, I love finance, but a big, as you guys know, part of this channel is also entrepreneurship and seeing innovation. And we've seen a boom in the digital age that we live in today of guys that are in high school that are earning more than doctors and lawyers.
Yeah.
And for me, seeing someone earn like Iman $1 million in a day, I'm like, nah, can't be. And I just sparked my interest, I want to know more. So hence I'm getting guys like you that have, done it, so that we can learn a little bit from people that are making money in that space. I don't necessarily have a story where I've earned 10K a month from drop shipping, just because I haven't dabbled a little bit into that. And my game is finance. And as you guys know, I'm officially starting in the financial services industry now in April. So quite excited for that. But I'm really excited. And maybe if you guys are familiar with Luke's channel, I've been following and tracking along his journey on Instagram and YouTube, and how he's been building his little personal brand. Well, I shouldn't say little, it's growing quite a bit. Wrong adjective to use there. And it's just cool to see his consistency, because he has a little kind of goal to reach 10K a month through dropshipping, and that's that really caught my eye. And to see your consistency running to about like day 300 now, and hence I was like, yo, I really want to get this guy on the channel, because I love your consistency, I love your grind and your resilience to pursue that, even the good and the not so good days. So you said that you started to make a little bit of money in the e-commerce, but what was your initial driving force to go, I want to do drop shipping? What was that first? You spoke a little bit about seeing guys reaching success online. What was the fuel or the stoke to the flame that got you into this in the first place?
Yeah, so like I said, seeing the guys do it online was like the spark, right? I thought that looks interesting. Making money with essentially it was not trading money for your time, or not getting a conventional job, which was very different from the way that I thought things had to go.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like I said, Liam started doing it. My brother started doing it, and making a little bit of money there. So I was like, let me give it a try. So that was the initial thing. I did that, tried it. Liam was also kind of on and off with it. And then, yeah, once Liam started doing his thing and making the big bucks, that's kind of around the time that I had just finished studying. And I said, okay, I'm going to go full in with Shopify dropshipping instead of Etsy dropshipping. Decided to start documenting my journey, and yeah, set this goal for $10,000 per month.
It's really cool. And for maybe someone that is out there that is trying to get or considering getting into dropshipping, what would be the first step? What would be the first step that you would, I say this over and over on the channel from Noah Kagan's book, Start Now Before You Know How. And I think that you have a taste of that too. I don't have to have everything perfect. I don't have to have the skill in the top 1 percentile in order to start. You can just start with what you have. What would be your advice to someone with step one to start in the e-commerce and dropshipping game, or even just entrepreneurship and starting your own thing? What would be your advice for step one?
So yeah, like you say, you don't need to know everything before you start, and I think that paralyzes a lot of people. But honestly, if you have a rough idea of what you're getting into, like let's say it is dropshipping, if you know how the business model works and you have that fundamental down, like you know how it works, but maybe there's obviously a lot of intricate things that are going to come along that you can't actually know before you start. So once you have the overall business model, the first thing you need to do is just find out what the first thing you need to do is and do it.
Yes.
So when it comes to drop shipping, it's product research. You need to find yourself a product. That's the first thing you should do. Do that, find a good product, and then worry about the next step when you get there.
No, solid. And when it comes to your personal journey, I know that you are kind of building, you have a 9 to 5 up until this point. I know that you're making a little bit of changes in your life at the moment, and you were kind of doing that from your 5 to 9, and building your e-commerce store, which is very, it stands out quite a lot, because a lot of people make all the excuses that I don't have enough time, don't have capacity to do so. What was kind of, what is one thing you learned about yourself when you can maybe touch on the capacity it takes to work on something even though you have a regular 9 to 5? Because I think a lot of people think that this is exclusive to those that are university dropouts, or it's the only other way. But I mean, you if you have a 9 to 5, you can build something on the side, so what I think the question that I have is, what is managing both your normal 9 to 5 job and building your e-commerce brand? What has it taught you, and what perspective or mind shift change have you had in doing so?
Yeah. So look, yeah, like you said, it is a common misconception that if you have a day job, that has to be your whole thing. And yes, there is a lot of life you have to do outside of that, but it all comes down to priorities. It's the same with like going to the gym. A lot of people who don't gym feel like they don't have the time for it, but there are people that gym and have the time for it. It's just a matter of priorities. Like,
Yeah.
and if someone's watching and they may have experienced this, but with the gym or anything, like you may think you don't have enough time, but as soon as you start going, you actually realize I do have enough time, and I actually still have time to do some more stuff afterwards and everything else. So yeah, I'd say that's the first thing, is just realizing that you can do it. And also a big thing for me that I've noticed is just like 20 minutes makes a big difference. Like, let's say you have 20 minutes before you have to leave and go to work, or let's say you get to finish work 20 minutes earlier. Take that opportunity to get something done, because it actually does make a big difference. Or like, don't stop doing your work just because you have to leave in 20 minutes or whatever. Like, the small amount of work that you do really compounds, especially when you're doing it every day, and that's where the consistency comes in as well.
Yeah, no, that's it's brilliant. And I mean, I reference the book often, but it's The Power of Atomic Habits. It's not doing a lot every now and then, but doing a little bit every single day consistently. And I think a lot of people, when they don't start, is because they create an image of this big mammoth behemoth of a task, like the big final goal to reach there, but it's the small consistent steps every single day that you need to take to achieve whatever vision you have, whatever goal you have to achieve, whether it's in e-commerce, whether it's a business idea that you have, whether it's even this is a career that you build in yourself. And I think that, I had a conversation with someone yesterday in my office, and he said that it's so important to know your vision, to know exactly what it is that you want to achieve, because then it's not an emotional thing to be able to trade the thing you want most for the thing you want now. It's easy to say no to the thing that you want now for the thing that you want most, and when you haven't defined the thing and the vision that you want most, you're going to be aimlessly walking, and you're going to be finding yourself feeling defeated and feeling lost because you aren't aiming towards something. It's like a sailor that's on sailing on the waters, on the seas, but he has no direction in where he's going. He's just sailing and being taken afloat by the waves, and then you're going to get nowhere. And I think that's such an important aspect, and that's something I've repeatedly said is you got to be clear with your vision and stubborn with your vision, and be able to, because again, that's the fuel to say no to the thing that your flesh wants to do now, or the things that feels nice and comfortable. It's comfortable not to go to the gym. It's comfortable not to work a little bit on the side hustle. But when you are able to define and clearly define what it is that you're working towards, and I always relate it to like gym. I mean, you and I have been training a little bit in some, in a few gym sessions together. It's exactly that. It's the thing of, we know what gym does for us. It gives us a healthy body, it promotes longevity. So even though the actual exercises hurt, and we push each other until we're like, yo, bro, I can't anymore, no more reps. Like, we push each other to a failure. But at the end of the day, you actually begin to enjoy the pain
100%.
because you know what it's doing to you. You know it's growing you. So you just got to start it. Just like get yourself in the gym, get your butt in the gym. It's the same. Just like sit in front of the desk and start working, and that you will start to build momentum. Yes, there will be days you won't feel like it, but at the end of the day, it's when you clearly define your vision, or know what these little atomic habits and 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day is doing, then you're going to do it regardless, even if you don't feel like it.
And with that, like when you define your vision, it's also a very good idea, or you should do it, is to define the daily steps and actions that you need to take to get there. Because it's all good and well to have this big goal and big vision, but if you don't actually know what you need to do to get there, it doesn't help. And it doesn't mean breaking it down to smaller goals either. It means literally defining, what do I need to do every day? Like, what do I need to complete every day to make progress, and then just keep doing that, and you should get there.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and I think like you definitely someone that we can learn an important principle from, because you go into like day 300 and you've made good money relative to what I think normal jobs here in South Africa pay you, but you haven't reached your Yes, you haven't reached your 10K a month target yet, but you've been consistent in that. A lot of people, Alex Hormozy actually speaks about this, about the 6 month entrepreneurial cycle that people go through, where they try something and it doesn't take traction as fast as they wish, because you often get inspired by the highlights and you want something that's going to happen overnight. Yeah. But unfortunately, it doesn't work like this. Sometimes it won't compute the same way that someone else is doing it. And I think that, a lot of people feel a lot of a setback from self-doubt, and also not seeing things take off as quickly as they hoped it would. And then Alex Hormozy says you go back to that cycle where you have productivity and then it's not going as far, you hit a plateau, and then you start going and you try something new. It's my mentor says, he's like, if you want to be a South African rugby player, play rugby. Don't play basketball. Don't play tennis. You got to play rugby, And if and that's just the point of that. Yes, I say, be flexible with your method. But the reality is, when you clearly define your vision, you're going to do everything to get there. Don't give up so quickly. Don't let a self-doubt, creep in. And I'm taking the platform here, but I think I want to ask you, because you've been super consistent, and that stood out to me, that you haven't hit 10K, but you're still posting and you're still consistent. So, what would you say is kind of advice you'd give to someone who feels himself going through those cycles in the trough of, giving up before you even could potentially make progress?
Yeah. There's this quote that I don't know who said it, but it was like people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. Sure. So like 1 year is actually really not that long.
Sure. That's actually fine.
And 10 years is enough to like really get something going, So like you said, there is that thing where like you start something and it's hard in the beginning, and then maybe you see a bit of progress and it feels good, but then you get to the point where now you know enough to know how much you don't know, and things become more difficult, and it feels like there's a lot more friction. But that's really the part we have to push through. So I think that's where the consistency comes in. But honestly, the motivation for me to keep posting is one of the reasons why I started posting is to keep myself accountable. Because I know if I showed people that I was doing this and said that like, oh, I'm so close all the time, then I'm going to feel like I need to keep going, as well as also like coming back to Liam, just having him there, like doing the things that he's doing is a huge motivation as well. Like if he's doing it, then he's my own brother, then why can't I? And that also goes back to the thing that you said where it happens differently for everybody. Like, even though I've got Liam there, he gives me advice sometimes. People would say like, why, like, help your brother, but he can't just do everything for me. I have to learn, and it happens differently for everybody. But yeah, another reason is also because what else am I gonna do? Just stop. Like what's the I set this goal for myself, and when I said it, whether it takes me 6 months, a year, 3 years, no matter how I'm gonna get it. So I don't see I'm not just gonna stop. I'm not. Yeah. I want it bad enough that I'm not just gonna stop. So not seeing results is not gonna stop. In fact, the more time I'm doing this and not seeing results, the more I'm learning. As long as I make sure I'm doing the right things, the more I'm learning, the closer I'm getting, and it's almost like pulling a slingshot back. Eventually it's gonna release, and I'm gonna get what I've been working for. Good it will feel if you won with the bad cards.
Brilliant. Mic drop right there. It's even a much better story. Like, what is the stories that speak loudest? The people that come from nothing. I think of like someone like Kevin Durant. I've been watching this basketball series on Netflix at the moment, and he's someone that came from absolutely nothing. And a few of these Hall of Famers in the US team, it's based on the 2024 Olympics. A lot of these Hall of Famers, they come from nothing and they made such success of themselves. And it speaks a louder volumes to their resilience that regardless of the cards that's dealt to them, they still played. And it's a better story when they reach the top.
100%. And it probably feels better as well.
And it probably feels way better,
It's like if you try something for 1 or 2 months and crack it, it's going to be like, cool,
Yeah.
did it, like, got some money now and stuff. But if it takes you long, like, and it's this weird thing that happens to humans. Like, you would think the goal is the thing that I want, but like paradoxically, the longer the struggle is until you get it, the better it feels.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, and I had a conversation with someone yesterday about about destination addiction. Especially stoked by social media nowadays about seeing, because people only post the highlights. I mean, it's just a reality. People only
So you
post.
see the success stories.
Yes, you only see the success stories, and the reality is that when you get there, we as human beings, we have destination addiction. Once we get there, it's like cool, then it's like trying to climb to a cloud or run after a rainbow. Once you get there, it's like, oh, this is actually now I want to keep going. Like, so the reality is, like, yes, be clearly define what you want to aim for, but at the same time be satisfied by the daily steps you take to get there.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're never going to find contentment. And at the end of the day, everyone wants to be happy and have a peaceful life. You'll never find peace if you're always chasing something. So don't understand me when I'm saying you don't like chase your goals, but also find satisfaction in the fact that you got up today and you took the necessary steps to achieve that goal. And then you leave the outcome to the outcome. At least you were true to yourself. You got up. You did. Exchange that which you want most for that which you want now.
I must say that is a tough line to find. Something I've been thinking about a lot lately is like trying to be happy in every moment, but then also having like this big vision and big goal. And it's hard to find that line of being happy every day with what you have and not having accomplished what you want to yet. And maybe not seeing that much progress as well. And also still being very hungry for more. So it's a bit of a tough one, and I've been thinking about how to do that. But I think it also like just meditating and just mindfulness as well is very important for that. Because at the end of the day, why do you want this big thing? Is because you want to be happy. But there's if you're waiting for that to be happy, once you get there, you're gonna push for a new goal because you're not used to being happy with what you have. You always need that desire. So yeah, I mean.
It is a challenging line to come. We as human beings, we tend to go too far on the one side, too far on the other side, and it is something that's a personal goal for mine. It's been said before that if you can't be content, and it exists in a different jurisdiction than the goals that you're aiming for. If you can't be content with the things that you have now, when you achieve that vision, you're going to really struggle to be content then. I even think of like this guy, I don't know if you've heard of Jordan Walsh.
Yep.
He has a YouTube channel, and like he's made like tons of money. He's retired his mom and really made it. He sold this company that he bought. Also like started dabbling in dropshipping. I think that's where he started. I think selling Christmas trees. I think I watched that video. But now that he's made it, he's making another YouTube channel, like based on the fact that he feels empty, Yeah. And I start thinking that, and it's actually good that I can learn from other people's mistakes. Not that he made a mistake. He achieved it. He achieved it. But now that he's there, because he didn't focus on like mindfulness, meditation, prayer, spirituality, however you would define it, he feels like that now that he's received that the purpose isn't in the thing, it's it should be found somewhere else, you know. And I think that, you know, it's kind of like a little bit off topic, but I think that just to go where the conversation is going, it's so important even in the journey, because I think that's also why I got you in the channel in the first place, because, you know, I'm super encouraged. A lot of people highlight the success. You see like the success story, but they're not always very emphatic about the steps to get there. But I love that you are tracking your journey. And that's also a big focus of my channel. Like I say all the time, like I'm not saying from a place of I've made it. I'm saying from a place of I'm learning from other people, and I want to teach you guys as I'm doing it.
100%. Yeah, that was also a big thing for me with documenting my journey, is not to flex or anything, but also just to help anybody else who is also on the same journey, and just like show what I'm learning, and yeah, help people if I can. But yeah, I've seen that stuff from Jordan Welch, and he said he, like, when he sold his company, he got that wire for however many millions of dollars he got, and he said it felt like not even as good as the first Shopify sale. That first Shopify sale for $20 was even better. And it shows you it's like it's more the pursuit of the thing that makes you happy. But now, like, we're in the pursuit of this big vision, and if we're not happy, then we're not happy during the pursuit, and we're not going to be happy when we get it. So yeah, definitely something to grapple.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I'm very encouraged just to see the other side of entrepreneurship as well. So just another question to tie in with what we've been discussing now.
Yeah.
You know, entrepreneurship often tests our patience. I think we all know that. And especially when we're working towards a specific goal and we haven't reached it yet, we can be on a last rope, as it pertains to, you know, persistence and resilience. How do you stay patient and focus on the long-term vision, even though the immediate results aren't there? What is some daily habits that you do that fuel your persistence, and to keep going even though you haven't achieved that which you're aiming for?
So yeah, it's tough. I mean, I've obviously had days where I'm like, I just feel down because it's taking so long, or maybe I didn't have a good day. Maybe I launched some ads and they're just performing terribly, and I feel like I'm regressing and not progressing. But maybe it doesn't work for other people. But like I said earlier, for me, it was like, what else am I gonna do? Like I know I'm not gonna stop. So what else am I gonna do? I just have to keep going. And also just like knowing how possible it is. I'm very lucky actually that my brother's successful in this thing that I'm trying to do. And honestly, even if I wasn't doing e-commerce, like, he's been a big inspiration. It's a huge motivation to get those Shopify screenshots from him, and just being like, damn, bro, like, it's crazy. And it just shows me that it's possible. Someone so close to me is doing it. Like, it is possible. I may not be seeing results. I'm not going to stop. So just have to keep going. Honestly, like, it may sound like a cop-out answer, but that's literally what goes through my mind. It's like, yeah, I know what I want. I need to keep going. Can't stop.
No, it's it's really good. I think that's I can't remember who said it now. As you can tell, I watch a lot of Alex Hormozy. I think it was Alex Hormozy who said this. But he said, like, what is one consistent attribute about those that are the most successful people in this life? The top 1 percentile are the guys that just are absolutely obsessed with the game. Yeah. They live, they relentlessly pursue it. They wake up, they think about it. When they're having lunch, they think about it. When they're in their lunch break, they think about it. When they are sleeping, they dream about it. When they wake up, they are like, how can I get better? They're constantly obsessed with this thing. And I love your zeal, you know, that aggression that you want to achieve, because it means that you're not going to stop. And I like, just to, you know, I know that you don't need it, but I'm just to encourage you, because just your journey is encouraging other people, you know. And I mean, maybe guys, if, you know, in the chat who watch him, like, just comment, because I know at the end of the day, like, you know, he's, you know, off camera, he told me in the gym once that he wants to bring value to people, and that's why he's tracking his journey, to encourage other people on the line. So just to encourage you, even though you haven't achieved it yet, you've already achieved that. Like, you've encouraged me. I've been watching your journey for a while, and because I was, like, a year ago, I was also about a year ago, I was also a little bit, like, very, very discouraged, because I thought I was in the same place. I was like, it's taking so long. I'm not sure what the next step is. I see other guys that are at 18 when I was playing Fortnite in my bedroom, like making bank, trading crypto and drop shipping, and I was just very frustrated. But I was encouraged to see the way that you brought value from a different perspective. So I don't know, maybe that's encouraging to you. And so those of you guys that are watching that are maybe in the same boats, like, you know, we haven't, I mean, I'm starting on a trajectory to a really, really cool industry, and I'm starting to get momentum now, which I'm very, very grateful for. But I mean, it's actually interesting. Like, I took a video a year ago, that I still haven't watched. I it's one of those videos where you take a video and it's like, I'm going to play this and make a cut in like 5 years time, and it's still on my phone. And every time I feel like I want to slouch, I remember that video, and I know that I'm working towards. And it's not just, even if I don't post it, it's for myself, knowing that that's where I was. You know, I was in like this. I was just very, very anxious. I felt lost, and I didn't feel like I was going forward. And again, a lot of it is comparison. But I just want to encourage you guys to keep going. Don't give up. And I also spoke a little bit about this on a YouTube shorts that I posted a while ago, about being flexible with your method. You know, maybe it's like making it's like, you know, taking all your money and throwing it into the wrong investment, throwing it into the wrong crypto assets. It's, you know, you have all the right ingredients. It's not like you're not the problem. It's where you've been throwing it, you know, and just keep going and keep pivoting if it's not working, because you are going to hit the jackpot. Don't know if you want to touch on that.
Yeah, that's the thing, yeah. You need to keep going, and it's good that you took a video like that. I also do that whenever I'm feeling low, actually, like I'm not making progress, or if I've made one big like step in progress, then I'll take a video of myself and just explain how I'm feeling this situation. I mean, and it's a really good motivation to look back, because honestly, like for me, I don't know if it's like this for everyone, but I tend to not acknowledge how much I've grown. But when I look back on those videos, I'm like, damn, actually a lot's happened since then, and I've gotten a lot better at a lot of things. But I wouldn't have acknowledged that if I didn't take those videos and stuff. So if you're starting out, or even if you're not just starting out, I'd recommend you to document your journey, even if it's just for yourself, but posting it as well. It also helps you to reflect on like what you're doing and make sure that you can adapt and make the right decisions, because it's easy to just get stuck in a cycle of just doing the same thing over and over and hoping for a different result. But if we have to publish that, you kind of think a little bit more about what you're saying, and you can act like, it's helped me to learn more and make better decisions and like more critically analyze what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's like that saying, you know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and hoping for different results. You know, so it's the importance of pivoting. And I think that's the buzzword of the, I don't know, the month or the past 2 months, because even people that I've seen, like, that have watched my videos, they're like, man, you know, be stubborn with your vision, flexible with your method. And I think that it's also so important to, and I like, you know, just to go at the beginning of the conversation, we spoke about, you know, just taking that first step, the power of execution. I also posted a video about the fact that I told you a little bit about the business I started in about September last year, and it didn't take traction as much as I thought it would, and I knew I was pivoting into a different industry. But a lot of people were like, oh, bro, like, next time, man, I'm so sorry. Like, but the thing is, the guy who's failed 4 times before the guy who has the better business idea, who's too scared to take the first step, the guy's failed 4 times, he's further along because he's taken those steps, and he has the key to eventually hitting the like the bullseye, because he's taken steps. And I mean, the most successful entrepreneurs that we know in this world, they failed a good couple of times before, you know, we heard about them, you know, and that's what's not seen. And it's usually things that you do and the things that people don't see that make you into the leader, make you into the person that people do eventually see. So
you definitely learn the best lessons from failure, and people, you can't really like visualize the journey on like a linear graph. It's kind of more like 3D, because the failures are part of the journey as well. Like, it's not, when you fail, it's not like a drop, you know. It's like this 3D thing that's hard to comprehend, but the failures are kind of like wins if you choose to see them as that, because they're learning opportunities. And if you had not failed, you might not have learned a very important lesson that will carry you through in your next attempt. Yeah, like you said, the person who's tried and failed 4 times definitely has a way better chance than someone who just has a good idea and has never tried.
Yeah, 100%. So let me ask you, Luke, a successful lifestyle means different things to different people. How's your definition of success evolved or progressed throughout the day you started up until this point? Has it pivoted what you define as a successful lifestyle means for you personally?
Yeah. So obviously in the beginning it was just like, oh, this is such a cool way to make money. Then trying out the dropshipping, making a little bit of money. Then it got a little bit hard. Okay, stop. Like wait a few months, try again. I suppose like the initial thing would be like, oh, if I can make like 30,000 Rand in a month, then I can buy like a new iPhone and things like that, you know? But then obviously as it progresses, I'd say what I'm more looking for now is like the freedom that money can give me. Obviously I like to buy nice things as well. Like I like nice tech, just like having a nice phone, having a nice laptop. But the biggest thing would be just like the freedom and being able to go where I want to go. So having location freedom, having time freedom as well is one thing that makes entrepreneurship very attractive to me, is having full control over your own time. And you see those memes as well where it's like me becoming an entrepreneur to escape the 9 to 5, and now I'm working
Yeah.
like 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. But I mean,
Well, at least in the beginning, you know.
in the beginning, yeah, that's the thing. I feel like you kind of like, if you imagine like working for 40 years, if you like double the amount of like work you do in the intensity in the first, but you can kind of like offset it and finish earlier, like if you do it right. But yeah, I'd say my vision of success has definitely changed. It's not about buying things now. It's just about being able to provide for my family and my future family. And then just having the freedom to live life and be happy. And I feel like there's so much more to life than just working a 9 to 5 until you die, you know?
Yeah.
Or until you have to retire, and then you're like old and can't do anything.
Yeah, and I also have seen that meme before, about becoming an entrepreneur to escape the 9 to 5. But especially because I know a lot of people watching this channel, they are young aspiring entrepreneurs, young professionals starting their career, want about financial freedom. I mean, who doesn't? That's the goal of everyone, to have the freedom that money gives you. It's a means to an end, and I think that it's so important, when you're young, to focus on ways to make money, ways of making money that multiplies while you sleep. So in the beginning, it's going to be a graft. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be rough. You're going to be working 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. That 5 to 9. But it's to get to a point where you make money while you sleep. Passive income is the goal, and you need to do it now in your 20s. You need to start trying to figure out ways to manage and multiply your money. And again, it's not only about, I speak a lot about making, manage, and multiplying your money. It's not only about the making part. And I think a lot of people our age, they focus only on the making part, where the managing and multiplying is so important. And you don't have to wait until you make bank to multiply your money. Like, my thing is like, and this isn't targeting anyone, for the guys that have made money, like well done, like you've made way more than probably I have, that have made millions or whatnot. But the fact that you lost it all, in a short amount of time, it just shows you that and it's not just one or two people. You hear a lot of people make all money and then they go broke. Yeah. It's so important also to be intentional in managing and multiplying. That's where financial planning and financial management and investing and diversifying your portfolio and knowing how to multiply your money is so important, because to make the money in the first place is fantastic, and we need to focus on that, because you need that capital to invest. I'm just speaking about ways to multiply your money, but as someone in their 20s, it's so important to also have the know-hows on how to use this resources that you have, so that when you get to a stage in your life, and hopefully it's not when you're 75, because we're in a place where there's so much information out there all over the internet, and yes, there's mixed information as well, but we have so much opportunity to manage our money in ways that people didn't have ever before. Like I just thought about, I carry this thing around. I can look at every single investment portfolio, every single stock on the market, and I can buy and sell and trade flipping on a boat in the Bahamas. You know, I can make money by sitting, and I know some people that are making a lot of money from trading. It's a very I'm not going to encourage everyone to do, because it's very risky. It is very risky. It's, in a sense, it is luck and it is gambling. Yes, you can predict the economy and whatnot, but I think that is, you know, that's one way to manage and to multiply your money. But it's so important, not only from an investing point of view and buying, you know, crypto and stocks and so on and so forth, but also looking of ways to build an asset such as a business, because a business is also an asset that can multiply while you sleep, you know. So you're going to put that 9 to 5 in, or that 5 to 9, 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. in the beginning, but that's ultimately for that goal, so that when you get to 40 years old, you have location freedom, you have the freedom to, you know, not be bound to sit in front of a desk until you're 70, you know.
Yeah. I actually hate money. Like, I don't hate money, but I hate the restrictions that money puts on people, and like especially me. Like, it's so sad to think if if my parents or anyone like similar to my parents, which is like majority of people, if they wanted to travel, then it's like, oh, I don't want to take leave now because I want to make sure I can take leave in December when da 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 da, on like da da. It's just like, it's crazy to be locked in to one place because of money, when there is opportunity to break free of that. There's something else I wanted to say as well.
Fucking editors.
Oh yes, and as well, like with your vision, it should be a very clear vision, and one way you can do that is like, I saw Charlie Morgan speak about this. It was like, most people don't know how much money you actually need. Like, how much money do you need? Like, how much money are you trying to make right now? Because if you can just think, okay, how much money do I need where I can put it into like a safe investment that's going to give me 3% a year, where I can live off that 3% and the money just grows. Like, it's going to be a couple million, but like, have that amount, break it down. How much do I need to make? How much can I live off of and save this? And then you can literally work out a plan of like, this is how much money I need to make per month for this amount of time. And then I can literally retire and live off a 3% return on my money. So get very specific with your goals, basically.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And whether I read it, I read it in a book I read recently about your freedom number, and it ties into that.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, writing down exactly, like, I remember I did it a year ago. I said, and I actually achieved it already. So very, very grateful for that. I wrote down, this is the amount of money that I need to earn, which is my freedom number. And you know, and that's per month, but I think it's also, you can do that in different avenues, and it's so important to put that somewhere where you can see every day. And it's also the power of journaling and reflecting. I mean, it's probably something that you do, but I sit and I write down what I learned. I always have a notepad, like, about my experiences and the things I learned from my experiences. Again, like I say all the time, XP points. But it's also important to put it somewhere where you can see every single day. That can be a constant reminder of that promise you made to yourself. You know, and each person defines it differently. And again, like, for anyone that is, pushing to, maybe it's your passion to be a lawyer, to be a doctor. Like, what we're not saying is that, you know, you're wrong. It's just, what is a life well lived and bringing value look like to you?
Yeah.
And it can be anything. You know, for some people it's being a doctor. You know, some people it's being a researcher. For some people it's having the location freedom to go travel whenever they want, because that's their definition of success. And again, if you haven't defined that, the earlier you do it, the better. I think so. Yeah, like, the next question I wanna ask Luke is, you know, regardless if you reach your goal or not in life, you know, knowing you or knowing your consistency. It's the laws of the universe that you're going to hit it because you're consistent and you're working hard every single day. But regardless, would you say is one reason that you're grateful for of starting, even if you don't hit that target that you have? And why I ask that is it's kind of to glean out where those that are just focused on securing the bag, where they can focus on today in finding peace and happiness and joy, speaking about that contentment. So even if you don't reach it, what is one reason in your journey so far that you can go, I think you might have touched on it a little bit in the discussion already, but what is, like, would you say is one thing that you go, I'm glad I started because of this?
Yeah, well, a big thing that's like been part of entrepreneurship is just like self-improvement in general. So whether that's going to the gym, whether that's journaling, whether that's like cold exposure, like all these little hacks that I've learned, it's like I'm trying to learn how to live life the best. Like on my Notion, I have a page that's actually called like Life Playbook. And I hope to like give that to my children one day or anybody who needs it, but I'm still working it out. Like I don't know everything about life yet, but everything that I feel is like a step to live a good life, I put in there. And a big thing is just like doing hard things, man. Like if you always choose the easy route, like the easy thing, like whether it's scrolling on social media, eating the food that tastes nice but isn't good for you, it's good in the moment, but like the long-term pain you're gonna get from that is like way higher. Whereas if you choose the more difficult route, with like going to the gym, waking up a little earlier, eating healthy, not that something maybe it doesn't taste as nice, even though there's ways to make your healthy food taste nice. It's always going to pay off more, and that's probably the biggest thing that I've learned in this journey. It's just like self-improvement, and proud of myself for the things that I've learned, and the things, my daily habits now that help me to live a happier, healthier, more loving life.
Oh, and you should be, and I think that's another. I spoke about it recently on a video as well. But Andrew Huberman, I don't know if you know him. He's a neuroscientist, and he has a podcast. He speaks about part in your brain. It's called your cingulate cortex. I think it's the anterior cingulate cortex. Don't quote me on this, but he says that physiological part of your brain, which promotes longevity in life, physically grows when you do something in a state when you don't feel like doing it. So if you and I, we're keen to do chest day, like, oh yes, we get a nice pump, our shirt's gonna sit tight afterwards, and we do chest day. He says that part is not gonna grow, but the day that you don't feel like, so probably leg day and calves, it's those days where you don't feel like doing something that literally grows. So, our bodies were not designed to be in a place of comfort. You level up when you do things that put you out of your comfort zone. And it's so interesting to think that way, because we think of like a primitive, ancestors. It's like, they kind of had to hunt for their food. They lived in harsh conditions, and yet they still lived long lives. And I think that and even going days without food. I think that it's so interesting to see. Like I like to study the brain and everything. That's why I watch Andrew Huberman. So shout outs, if any of you guys watch his podcast. But it's so interesting. Like when you start this journey, you can start for one reason, but along the way, you learn so many things about yourself. You learn so many things about this really great. I mean, I'm sitting here with an amazing view here. I am looking at a mountain on this side, and I'm like, because I started the journey in this first place, I've never been to this part of Somerset West, and Luke drove up here, and like, I'm like, wow, like Somerset West is actually beautiful, So it's just a silly example, but the point is, the metaphor is, when you start doing things and stepping out of your comfort zone, you can start for one reason, but usually you find joy in other areas. And again, usually people start because they want to achieve that joy. So again, it's that encouragement. Just start. If you don't know where you're going, just reach out to someone even. I mean, I know like people in this space, even Luke, he does some mentorship. So like you can reach out to us, we're still young, so we're still figuring it out. So there are older guys, but that's also there's a scripture in the Bible in Proverbs that says, iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. It's like two sharp swords sharpening one another. I think that's important of getting getting in, surrounding yourself with people that are also, because you're going to, it's like using that, stealing that quote from James Clear that says, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits or the level of your systems. And I think that also rings true for the people you hang around. If you're primarily hanging around people that are doing unhealthy things, that are doing bad stuff, that have no ambition and no goals, you aren't going to rise to the level of your goals at the end of the day. If you're only friends, I'm not saying like, neglect, people because you want to bring value to everyone. But I'm saying if you only that's your inner circle, it's going to be very difficult to rise to your goals. You're going to constantly fall into the level of those you surround yourself with. I don't know if you agree with that. And maybe like, I don't know if you want to touch on friendships and like, people you surround yourself with.
Definitely. I'm sure a lot of people have heard it. It's like you are the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And it's true. Like it's all about influence, and you kind of are like, yes, you're your own person, but you're just a mixture of everybody around you and influences around you, whether that's people on your phone, like videos you watch, or like actual friends. But I think like in-person relationships will probably influence you more. But it's also down to the content you watch, if you're watching someone who's good and like talks well on entrepreneurship and self-improvement and everything, then that's going to have an influence on you as well. But you can really see it. Like there's a reason why like groups of friends are all similar. Like if you move to a different group of friends, different things become cool and you get motivated by different things and different like social pressures because they're always there. But yeah, it definitely is a big thing, and it can be tough to justify leaving old friends behind if they don't necessarily align with where you want to go. But yeah, I think that there's also a line like it's cool to catch up with old friends as well. Like it's sometimes it's nice to just be goofy and silly and drink a little bit. Like at the end of the day, like I'm optimizing for happiness in life, and like that brings me some as well, so can't take it too seriously.
But that's also why I said, it's like, again, you don't want to be just cutting off people that you love, but it's who the guys I guess you take counsel from, and like especially the content you watch. But it is all about balance, and at the end of the day we want to achieve a lifestyle of freedom, and that's kind of what entrepreneurship brings, will eventually will bring to you and our viewers. I always end all of my interviews actually with asking a few of your go-to reads. I always say this saying that all, because it rhymes, that's primarily, but I think it ties true to successful people, but all leaders are readers, but not all readers are leaders. And it ties into those who are successful. So what are some go-to books that have really inspired you on your journey that you would recommend? Because actually I want to share, because like a year ago, the very first actionable step that I took personally that got me to start that business and be on a trajectory to where I'm now, going into the financial service industry. I didn't necessarily say that as an undergrad degree. Also ties into the fact that you don't need to have that certificate to get yourself in the space. I remember sitting, my fiance Amy, she was it was just when I came back from Madeira last year around June. She was at she does like modeling and whatnot. So she was at a fashion walkway thing, and I was in Cape Town, so I was sitting at the waterfront for the day because I dropped her off. And then I just remember sitting at the waterfront and reflecting about the season and kind of what I'm gonna do next. And I was like, I need to make a change. I went straight to the bookstore in the waterfront, and I went to the business section, and I was like, I'm gonna pick up 2 books and I'm gonna start reading. And from that, I made a decision that every chapter I read, I'm going to implement. And that's how I started that business that I started, Yes, it didn't make me a millionaire, but I made profits and whatnot. And I'm so glad I did it because it taught me so much. That was my first actionable step, is going to pick up a book. Because the greatest asset you have is knowledge, it's wisdom, it's the things that you learn. Because at the end of the day, the things that you appropriate it to make the freedom that you desire.
Yeah.
So that's a long story, but books. Sorry.
No, reading books is very good. I think like all the information that you can read and get into your brain is good, even if you don't necessarily like. I could mention a book I read now and then I wouldn't be able to tell you like one quote from it or like
Mm-hmm.
not remember most of the principles from it. But I think just reading it and like also even just like watching good videos, but I think reading's better. But just like getting it into your brain, it goes into your subconscious, and then like that plays a part in your intuition when you make decisions, and just like the way you see the world as well. But obviously it's good to, when you read a book, to actually like try and study it if it's a good book, and like write down things and try and remember it. But I think it's good to just consume good information so that it can like make up your subconscious, because that's essentially what it is. But yeah, one of the first books I read that made a difference for me was Sell Like Crazy by Sabri Subri. I don't know if you've read that one.
I haven't read that one, no.
But it's a lot about like marketing and biopsychology and stuff. So that was like good for thinking about business, and like gave me a good start on like business and getting people to buy things. And then probably my favorite book I've read is Atomic Habits by James Clear.
So,
Legendary book, just about like habits, and I feel like you can apply it to almost every area of your life. Just a super impactful book. I think everybody should read it.
I agree.
Just to see how easy it is to actually change habits, and to create new ones, and the impact they can make.
Yeah. No, yeah, I love that book so much. And another one that's also, if you guys enjoy psychology, and it talks a lot about sales as well. You know, if you're in the game of sales, my psychology really helps in that game as well. But The Diary of a CEO by Stephen Bartlett, that was a great read. Like, I really, really enjoyed that. It was very, very, very like academic focus as well. There's lots of studies in that book, but it's about timeless business principles that will help you in all industries, entrepreneurship, in your career, studies, like Atomic Habits, all things. So that's also another read. Yeah, but
Podcast, so I need
I'm definitely gonna read that first one. What was it called again?
Sell Like Crazy.
Sell Like Crazy. Okay. But yeah, guys, I hope that this conversation was as beneficial as it was for me. Luke and I have been gymming together for a little while. We've known each other since high school, actually, but reconnected recently. And even just from sitting in this environment, I learned a lot about him as well. So it was pretty cool. If you found value in this, again, do me a favor and just like the video, and I'll put links to Luke's channels and his personal Instagram where he's tracking his journey. Very, very encouraging to see his journey along the way. Put the link to his YouTube channel and anything else he wants to put there as well. Is there any closing remarks you want to add before we...
Closing thoughts. Yeah, obviously, like a disclaimer, I haven't made it yet. I haven't done much yet. So I'm like, as an ode to sharing my journey, that's what I'm doing right now, is just like sharing everything that I've learned, sharing my experiences and my failures and my wins, like just trying to help the person that's 1 or 2 steps behind me. So yeah, I don't know everything. I don't think I know everything. I know I don't know everything. But yeah, thanks for the chat, man. It's been really good. You've also taught me a few things, so definitely a valuable chat.
Awesome. Luke, take it then. Cheers, guys. Ciao.